This is the beauty of my life. There's not a thing that happens to me that I don't look at it as a teaching, learning experience. And so whenever I'm going into any kind of crisis, I've said this many times before, I'm always looking for what is this here to teach me.
On Thanksgiving, Oprah's mom, Vernita Lee, passed away at age 83. A week later, we sat down with Oprah, who is, of course, a longtime friend of People magazine. And in a really emotional interview, she told us about how she said goodbye to her mom.
I knew my mother was dying. I got a call from my sister that she thought it was the end. I've been taking care of her for a long time, and she's had nurses and so forth over the years. And even when she didn't need nurses, she's had nurses. She just liked having all these people. So anyway, I got a call from my sister, and I was planning to go to launch Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, in Chicago. And my sister said, I don't know, I think that you know, this may be the end. She gave me a hug, and it was the kind of hug that said she was saying goodbye. So I hopped on a plane, and I went early, and I surprised my mother, and she's like sitting in this little room where she loves sitting in this room where it's like 80 degrees, and she just watches TV all day. And I surprised my mother, and I went there before the launch of Becoming in Chicago to spend some time with her. I went and did the launch, then I came back to Milwaukee. I flew back. So I flew in, then did the thing for Michelle, then I flew back, and I sat with my mother and I said, I don't know if you're gonna make it. Do you think you're gonna make it? And she said, I don't think I am. And I had a conversation with her about what that felt like and what it felt like to be near the end. And I started telling all the people who cared about her that she knows it's the end. So if you want to say goodbye, you should come and say goodbye. So that's what happened. And people would come in, and she would tear up when she saw them, and you could see the appreciation and love that she felt for them. And then I said to her, what a wonderful thing to be able to say goodbye, because she's completely coherent and perfectly understanding everything. And then I left, and I left knowing that that was going to be the last time. This was on a Thursday, because I had to speak in Boston. I stood in the doorway and I said goodbye, and I knew it was going to be the last time I said goodbye, although I didn't say to her, this is the last time I'm going to say goodbye. So I went and I spoke in Boston, in Lowell, and we got snowed in Lowell, and I knew that the next day I had a bunch of meetings in California, and I canceled all of those meetings, and I went back to Milwaukee because I felt like I had not closed it. I felt like I knew it was the end, but I wanted to make sure she knew it was the end and that I said everything I wanted to say. So I went back, and I spent some more time, and I sat in that hot room, and I watched The Bold and the Beautiful, and I watched The Young and the Restless, and I watched The Price is Right, and I watched Steve Harvey, and I watched Steve Harvey on the Game Channel, and I watched it in a loop, and I sat in the room, and I was about to lose my freaking mind in that room. But I just sat, and I waited for a way to say what I wanted to say. And I couldn't find it that day. And the next morning I woke up and I was actually praying for what is a way I can have this conversation about the end. How do I close it? And it's really interesting because I'd already gotten hospice care, and in the hospice care they have a little book about the little conversations, and I thought, isn't it strange? I am Oprah Winfrey reading a hospice care book on what to say at the end. And I just thought, what is the truth for me? That there isn't going to be an answer in a book. What is the truth for me? What is it that I need to say? And I was praying for a way in, and I just walked in with my iPhone, and voice said, play some music. So I started playing some music. I played, Mahalia Jackson popped up on my Apple Tunes. And I thought, oh, that's good. Mahalia Jackson, Precious Lord. Wentley Phipps is a really great friend of mine who opened the school, actually, singing. So I thought, what if I call Wentley and got him to sing Precious Lord to her? So I called Wentley and asked him to FaceTime, and he FaceTimed from his kitchen table, singing Precious Lord, his deep baritone. And he sang Precious Lord live to her from his kitchen table. And I played another one of her favorite artists, Joshua Nelson, singing How I Got Over. And I could see that it opened her a little bit, because my mother's been a very closed down person. And I could see that the music gave me an opening to say what I needed to say. And what I said was, thank you. As a young girl, having a baby in Mississippi, no education, no training, no skills, 17, you get pregnant with this baby. Lots of people would have told you to give that baby away. Lots of people would have told you to abort that baby, and you didn't do that. And I know that was hard, and I want you to know that no matter what, I know that you always did the best you knew how to do. And look how it turned out. And then I told her, you should go in peace. I told her, because my mother has had diabetes, and 3 years ago she knew she should have had dialysis and she didn't want to do it. And it was her choice not to do it. I said, you should do whatever your body tells you to do. Nobody's gonna force you to do what you wanna do. I said, you made the best decision for you, but now your body's shutting down, and this is what's happening. Now the rest of your organs are gonna start to shut down. Your kidneys have shut down, your organs are gonna shut down. And what you want it to be, what I want it to be, is as peaceful as possible. And in that moment, my sister was in the room, and my mother's had real problems since my sister came back from the adoption. And my sister said, please forgive yourself, because I've forgiven you for giving me away. It was just really sacred and beautiful. And I would say to anybody, and if you live long enough, everybody goes through it, say the things that you need to say while the people are still alive, so that you are not one of those people living with regret about what you woulda, shoulda, coulda said. So I feel complete. I feel really, really moved by all the people who've reached out to me. I got a really lovely note just yesterday from Jimmy Fallon saying, my mom's up there too, so if your mom has a party, tell her to call my mom. So I feel like it was as sacred and as blessed as a passing can be.